Welcome back, TigerCast family. Now, yesterday, Mark Bickley had some interesting comments to say on SEN. He was making some big calls about the 2025 season, and he has claimed that he believes Richmond will be winless. You heard winless in 2025. Now, for context, that hasn't happened since 1964 when Fitzroy went winless. So 61 years, no one else has gone winless, but yet he reckons we're about to break the record in 2025. Now, I think that's a bit of an extreme call, and I really don't think it's going to happen. And maybe he's just a little bit hurt about the fact that as bad as we were in 2024, we knocked off his beloved Crows on their home deck, mind you, and not to mention the 2017 grand final as well. So maybe Bickley's feeling a little bit of pain from those two incidents still. To go winless, it just doesn't really happen these days. But anyway, to humour him and everyone else, I thought, let's take a look at our fixture and let's try and pinpoint a few games where we might win. Now, I will say up front, look, we're not going to win a hell of a lot of games next year. I don't want to, confuse that at all. I still reckon we're probably in line for about 4 or 5 wins on the assumption that our injuries aren't what they were last year. If we can keep a team on the park, I think we're going to surprise more than a few teams. So let's jump across to the fixture and have a look at who we've got and where we might win. Alrighty, looking at the fixture here, we've narrowed it into just Richmond games to make this a little bit easier. Round 1, as much as I'd love to beat Carlton, I don't think we're going to knock the Blues off. Port Adelaide in Adelaide's a very tough game. Unfortunately, they're going to be top 4 contenders, I think. St Kilda at Marvel. St Kilda can be very hot and cold. Marvel is not typically a very good stomping ground for us. I think the Saints might be too good there. Brisbane at the G, I'm not sure we'll be good enough to knock off the reigning champs. Fremantle in Adelaide as part of Gather Round. I mean, being in Adelaide, it kind of evens it up. But Freo, I think, are going to be a very good side next year. So our first win, I reckon, could potentially come against Gold Coast. I know Marvel Stadium's not great for us, but it's equally not as good for them either, especially with Dimmer at the helm, who hates the joint. The Gold Coast, I don't think they won a game on the road last year, so that's going to be a little bit of a mental demon for them to overcome. So that could be a potential win. The Demons at the G, Anzac Eve. The Ds could slip a little bit this year. Enough for us to win a game. I think we'd have to be playing pretty well to beat them. Not out of the question, but I'm probably not as sold on that one. The Hawks are going to be flying this year, unfortunately, so I don't think we're going to beat them. The West Coast Eagles at the G. This is a very winnable game. This would be, I hope, to be win number 2 that I would identify. Kangaroos at the MCG the following week would be another winnable game. We hardly ever play the Kangaroos at the MCG, so that presents a pretty good opportunity. Plus the added extra value that we're death riding North Melbourne as well. So if we can somehow beat them to keep them below us to get a better pick in 2025, that's a double win. So we'll tip us there. Essendon can sometimes be a 50-50 game. So they seem to be flying around the start and middle parts of the year, then they fade away, but I'd give us maybe a 40% chance at this one, depending on form and injuries, of course. But yeah, maybe Giants away. I don't think we're any chance there. Sydney at the G. I mean, we knocked them off there this year, didn't we? So stranger things can happen. But for the purpose of this exercise, I'm probably saying a no for that one. Bulldogs at Marvel. I think the Doggies will be too good. Adelaide at the G. This is the one we want to win, Bickley. This is the one we want to win. It would be a nice little taste of irony if this was a game that we did win for sure. The Crows can be a bit hot and cold at the G. I can't remember the last time we played them at the G either, but I give ourselves a bit of a chance. That could be a 50-50 game, possibly. The Cats away, I don't think we're any chance of. The Bombers again, 40 to 50% chance, depending on how we're going with the injuries at that point. West Coast away, I give us a chance for this one. We actually play Optus pretty well. But by the end of the year, what can be a factor here is if we're playing a lot of young kids, they could be pretty tired and start to drop off in form a little bit. So maybe less likely than likely. The Pies, probably not likely. Gold Coast, potentially. It depends on if they're fighting for a final spot or not. They might have a bit more at stake than what we do. But I definitely give us a chance in that one. St Kilda, similar. If they're fighting for a final spot, we probably won't win it. But if their season's a bit cooked, I give ourselves maybe a 40% chance. North Melbourne, again, it's in Hobart. Anything can happen there. Again, that's another game that I reckon we should be definitely pushing to win. It could help decide where some of our future picks end up as well. And the Cats for the last game, I don't think will knock them off unless they rest everybody because they've got some top 4 spots sewn up or something like that. But yeah, looking at that, I reckon there's about 4 to 5 games that we should be thereabouts to win, and a couple other 50-50 ones that, depending on how the season unfolds, it could go away, it might not. But look, our backline's pretty strong. Our midfield's not so bad. It's our forward line that we know is the issue. If we can get some consistency and some form there, and we can actually convert the chances that are created when we move the ball out the back half, we might surprise a few teams. So let us know in the comments below, how many games do you have Richmond winning for 2025? Do you agree with Bickley it's going to be 0? Or do you think it's going to be 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 plus? Let us know what you think in the comments. But yeah, I'm going for about 4 to 5 wins for the Tigers this year. Or next year, should I say.